We have some interesting pairs of contrasts in today's reading from Ecclesiastes. There's a time to be born and a time to die, a time to uproot, a time to plant. And it seems like the contrasts of good and evil, light and dark. And there even seems to be this in the gospel. The apostles say Jesus is the Christ. And he responds by telling them the Son of Man must be handed over and die. But our faith tells us, and John's gospel tells us, that light and dark are not equal. In fact, the darkness will not overcome it. So maybe a better way to think of this is not as light versus dark, but two ways of shedding light on the truth. One, an affirming light, and the other one, a correcting light. A positive truth, an affirming light, a positive truth. Jesus is the Christ. A correcting light, the Son of Man must die, because to expose the reality of our sin. So we don't often think of affirmation and correction in this way, but that's what it is. It's shedding light on the truth. When we affirm each other, it should be shedding light on the truth. When we correct each other, it should be shedding light on the truth. I know that when I go upstairs and ride on the exercise bike and I set the timer for 40 minutes, at the end of the 40 minutes, it beeps, and on the screen it says, "Great job." No matter how hard I work on the bike, it's always going to say, "Great job." So I don't think that sheds light on the truth. So that's what we do when we affirm. We tell the truth. We have to be sincere. And it often does more to shed light on us than the truth. It dispels that enemy, the temptation that's always looking at our door, envy. It dispels anger. The other person is a lot more than what's annoying us. But the same is true of correction. And I know we don't always think of correction as shedding light on the truth, but that's what it's for. I think in our mind, when we correct, we think we're fixing the other person. You know, it's like, I would like you a lot more if you changed this thing that's really bugging me. But no, it's to shed light. And like, I bring this up because like I was corrected by someone about a week ago, and it shed a lot of light on myself. I was told that I do have a habit of, in conversation, answering other people's questions. And it's true. I don't think I'll be condemned for it, but it's pretty annoying. But because the person did correct me in a way, in a spirit of truth and a spirit of shedding light, it forced me to think about it and why I have that annoying behavior. And what I realized is that sometimes when I'm feeling on the outside or excluded in some way, I tend to want to be a part of everything, and I insert myself in conversations. And, you know, it's a nervous sort of tick, you know, it's an insecurity. But it comes from somewhere deeper. So it comes from a wound, you know, a lifetime of being excluded. You know, some of you know my family story. You know, by American standards, we were poor, and I don't want to overstate it because, you know, we most of the time had enough to eat. We didn't always have nice clothes, and you know, sometimes we had to go out without gas or phone. That wasn't what was burdensome. What was burdensome was the exclusion, not just the basic exclusion that happens when you don't have enough money or opportunities aren't available to you, but the personal exclusion. Like maybe, for those of you that don't know, then maybe some of the people that grew up in the U.S. might be bothered by this, but I'm going to say it anyway. In the U.S., there's an underlying attitude that if you're poor, it's your fault. You know, it was my parents' fault for being poor because they had so many kids. And you feel that becomes a wound. You know, is it not just from other kids because we didn't have nice clothes, but from their parents, you know, from teachers. I remember me and another African American boy not being allowed to move in a reading level for some seemingly arbitrary reason, even though other kids were. And I have lots of stories like that. But examining that and looking at that and realizing that that's really what formed me, and not having material things, it was being excluded. There's also something beautiful that it shed light on, a great gift that the Lord gave me, and it's why I'm here. The Lord gave me a heart for people that are excluded, for people that are outcast. It's often why, if you've been here for a while, at our house chapters, I sometimes defend the minority position, even though I might not even agree with it. Even with the cats, I think it's why I like Maggie and everybody else likes Benny, because Maggie's a good being. But that's my instinct. To go for the outcast. That's why I love the ministries I had. That's why I loved working with the disabled at Don Guanello. That's why I loved working at a Simple House or at the dinner program. Even with the volunteers, because they're working for people that are outcast, and to walk with them and to guide them as they go through that process of learning what it is to be set aside, to be excluded. And the thing about exclusion is like it denies the truth. It dims the light. It dims the light. It covers the light that's shining in the other person. And it is something we have to be careful in every community of. Now, I don't want to say it's like not being included. I can't include all of you in everything I do. That would be pretty overwhelming. But we should never turn our back on one another when we're annoyed or when we're bothered by something. Or when I occasionally answer somebody else's question. So I have my own list of contrasts for us to talk about, to help us not exclude. There is a time to affirm, and we should do it often and with sincerity. But we should also correct, and not to fix people, but to gently shed light on the truth. We should speak up against the majority, but we should also give others a chance to speak. And it's too bad Paul's not here for this next one, but I'm glad the camera is. Challenge authority. But after we challenge authority, embrace decisions as coming from the Lord. Listen to subordinates, but accept responsibility for making necessary but unpopular decisions. Apologize from the heart and receive apologies graciously. If we do all this, the Lord will shed his light on us, on our fraternity, and no darkness will ever overcome us.